And now I'm really excited to kick off today's event, Developing Your Career, Real-Life Stories from Women Leaders, sponsored by Moody's. We're thrilled to be joined by Sofia Saborio, Brenda Rojas Munoz, and Claudia Sequeira Mata from Moody's. Would you each take a minute to introduce yourselves, please? We'd love to hear what's going on in your life personally, professionally, and what you do in your role today at Moody's.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Robin. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you about my experience in this great company. My name is Sofia Saborio, and I've been with Moody's for a little under 7 years now. I'm an industrial engineer, and I have an MBA with an emphasis in finance. I started my career at Moody's back in 2016 in FP&A when the operation started here in Costa Rica. A fun fact is that Moody's gave me my first opportunity to work in finance since I was making a career change at the time. I manage a team of analysts dedicated to model revenue for Moody's Investor Services. And this was a very unique opportunity for me because I had the opportunity to build a team from scratch. Then in late 2019, I transitioned to the data and analytics team, where I currently am. And this was a function, again, that didn't exist before. And I was able to build, again, another team from scratch. And I'm very happy to have seen it grow throughout time. Currently, I manage over a team of business intelligence analysts. And I also manage training and upskilling programs for the finance organization.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be part of this panel, and I really appreciate everyone's time to connect. I'm Brenda Rojas, and currently as a manager in the Data and Analytics Department of Moody's Investor Service. My focus is to lead teams working with ratings and research analysts in support of the credit rating process through various activities. And my team is currently located in Costa Rica, but we also work closely with peers and teams globally. And so, though that sounds very interesting and challenging in my personal life, I'll be taking on one of what people say is the toughest jobs out there because in less than a month's time, I will become a first-time mom, which I'm pretty excited about. And I've been with Moody's for 3 years now. I studied business. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you all. Super excited to be here. My name is Claudia Sequeira. I am an industrial engineer with a master in project management. I have been in Moody's for almost 4 years, supporting the finance organization in different roles. I started managing the Costa Rica team that supports regional MIS FP&A business stakeholders. I also was the co-chair for the Costa Rica Inclusion Group, which allowed me to contribute to Moody's goal of developing a more effective and inclusive work environment for all employees across the company. And more recently, I was promoted to be the engagement manager for the Costa Rica Finance Organization. This is a new role, and now I am responsible for reviewing activities and operating models across the functional teams to ensure greater consistency across the team and surface local issues to local management and to senior finance leadership team. In addition, to develop different initiatives to increase employee engagement across all finance organizations.
Awesome. Well, let's dive right into today's discussion. When did you first start seeing yourself as a leader, and what are the steps that you took to get there? Brenda, we'll start with you.
Thanks, Robin. I think fairly early in my career, well, I started as an equity research analyst, and fairly starting, I think I would say it was about 2 years in. I was given the opportunity to begin coaching and training new joiners, which evolved into assuming more of a team leader responsibilities. And though at that point, I still had a lot to learn and to develop as an analyst and as an individual contributor, just having that oversight or just the opportunity to overlook others' work and coach them and help them gave me that sense of I had a potential and a desire to grow more into a leadership position. So from then on, what I did was I tried to continue to work on my technical skills as an analyst, but also began focusing on things or developing skills that I felt I needed for a potential future managerial role. And initially, what I did was be very observant of people managers around me and take notes, but also seek advice and feedback. And then eventually gather as much training and opportunities to grow more of those skills.
Okay, well, in my case, I did not anticipated being a leader when I was young. When I started working, I was focused on learning the basics and understanding my skills to become an expert in a specific area of interest. Then, along my career, I started to perceive that for many people, I was a go to person, someone to trust, that the people enjoyed working with, but also learning. And I realized that I enjoy it very much. So I also learned that we should be open to new opportunities and definitely to step away from our comfort zone.
All right. When I first joined Moody's, I didn't have any previous experience managing people, so I think it was a little bit scary at first to having to manage 4 people when I hadn't done so before. I was lucky enough to have 2 very supportive managers at the time who saw the potential in me and gave me the opportunity to do this job. And it grew into me. I really like being a leader, and I really enjoyed that. So I started building my team, which was comprised of junior analysts, and I started supporting them in every way I could think possible to make sure that we all succeeded as a team. I have to say, for me, it was hard at first to be able to delegate the word effectively to others and then keep it cool. So I think working on that, along with enabling them to do their work correctly, were my first steps towards a leadership position.
Well, since we're on the topic of managing people, especially if you're new to it, it's not easy. How has Moody's helped you set up for success? Claudia?
Thank you. Well, in my current role, my manager has been a great mentor. She has provided guidance on the job, but also she has given me the opportunity to be myself and to express my ideas and concerns. She is also assessing my career development interest, and she ensures that I can work and participate in different opportunities aligned with my interests and skills. All of this has been a great example of how to manage people.
I think in my case, I touched upon this in my previous answer a little bit, but it was challenging. Thankfully, I had the very supportive managers, and I've been lucky enough throughout all of my career at Moody's to have those supportive managers, and they coach me and they mentor me and they give me a lot of good advice that I can apply just to be better every day in my day-to-day job. One of the other things that I think that Moody's gives its employees are leadership essentials programs. They are programs that they offer to all of the managers in the company, which are a combination of lectures and then practice labs, so that you can practice the situations that will happen in like the day-to-day management. You can practice those. So difficult conversations, how to give feedback, and all of those kinds of situations, you get exposed to that, and then you know how to apply it in real life. So I think that has been very helpful for me. Yeah, I think that's about it.
I like that. You never know how to prepare for the difficult conversations. And then I like that you can apply from work into real life. That doesn't always overlap. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Can you all share a few more details about your career journey? How have you grown in your career? How have other women in your company aided in your career growth?
So the first question in terms of growing in the career. So after a few years in the team leader position that I had, which required both the technical aspect of delivering work or individual contributions, I also had some administrative responsibilities. And sometime there, I think it was 8.5 years being in the role and expressing to my manager that, I was seeking something new. The opportunity came up to apply to the current role that I have now. And it was actually my current manager at the time who suggested that I apply. And that led me to Moody's, and 3 years in, 3.5 years in, this is where I'm at. And I think in general, to grow, my approach has always been to be, and in any position that I've been, has been to be as open to learning and absorbing from others as I am to share with others. Because I feel that I've grown more from the feedback I receive on what my current strengths and opportunities are. But I feel that something that I've learned along the way that has helped me to get to that next step is learning to identify and close the gap on what I think and want to portray to others versus how others view me. I think that's key to get to the next step, or to get to what you want to represent, especially as a manager. And that continues to be something that I check on as often as I can, and kind of shape myself, or continue to evolve. So things that I would do to do that is raise my hand and contribute ideas, volunteer on things, and intentionally step out of my comfort zone, to see how it goes, and then go back and ask for feedback. And upon receiving that feedback, I can get different perspectives from people, and I take that into continuously grow, and assess myself, and assess how I'm doing in my development professionally. In terms of how other women have aided me or have helped me in my career, I think I've been lucky to meet and work with great professional and successful women, people in general, but women. And that goes from, the supervisors that I've had, peers that I've had, even stakeholders I've worked with, and up to, upper management. And I think that if I recall and linking it to when I saw myself becoming a leader and kind of aspiring to that, there's one event that kind of marked me along the way. It was like it had a major impact on me in a sense, because I got invited to a women empowerment conference by a senior female manager at the company that I worked at previously. And this was a big event, a conference with, a lot of trainings, and, women sharing stories and giving tips. And it was a large event of 100 to 200 people where, I was able to do a lot of networking. But I think that just that feeling of being there, and seeing other women being successful, and this was all like across different industries, but just particularly in finance, knowing that it's male dominated, seeing so many other women like make it was very inspiring to me. And also just feeling supported and mentored by that senior female manager, like having taken me into account and inviting me, was something that really marked me at the moment. It was very early when I was just a junior team lead, and that was inspiring to me. I think it paved the way for me to believe in myself and go after the opportunities that came for me thereafter.
Yeah, well, in my case, I think that one of the things of the key things I would say is to be open and ready to take new opportunities, as Brenda already said, having a good attitude, being curious, and expressing interest to go beyond on your daily work. Guidance and support from our senior management, I think that has been key, definitely, to succeed. But also the inspiration from all our great women leaders who often share their experiences and lessons learned through their career journeys. From me, that would be.
Those are some great stories. All right, looks like we have an audience question. Sandra asks, is it true that Moody's has offices in 10 locations? New York, Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Dallas, San Francisco, Buenos Aires, Sydney, Sao Paulo, and Ontario. I'm assuming that's Ontario, Canada. Is remote work available? And do you live in any of these states? Do you have to live in any of these states in order to work remotely?
I think I can take that. So I think Moody's has offices all around the world. Actually, the three of us are based in San Jose, Costa Rica, in Central America. There are opportunities for remote work available. I have members of my team that actually live in Toronto, Canada. So I think it's safe to say that if you like a position, just apply for it, and I'm pretty sure we can work something out.
Sounds beautiful. Costa Rica. Oh, it's on my bucket list. All right. There has been a lot of regression for women in the workplace in the last few years, but what is one change that you celebrate and view as progress? Are there any positive outcomes or changes in the workplace that you think will benefit women or employees generally moving forward?
Well, I think as far as regression, I'm happy to say that at least in my experience, I don't think that has been the case at Moody's. Actually, well, as Brenda mentioned, finance tends to be a very like male-dominated profession, and I think at Moody's now I see more and more women in leadership positions, and that makes me very proud to see the accomplishments of a lot of great women that just come give their best in their day-to-day job, and they mentor us and they mentor the people. So I really think that's one very positive thing that Moody's has. And then in terms of what you're thinking about, changes that can benefit everyone, I think this definitely, the workplace flexibility is beneficial for all employees, not just women. I think in the case of Brenda, she's going to be a mom soon. That will allow her to spend more time with her baby home. And I think that for anyone, even if you have kids, if you have pets, if you want to spend more time with your family, if you want to take more care of yourself, do exercise, I think that's something that is here to stay, and it's very beneficial for mental health and for overall well-being.
Yeah, I share the same view, and I think that largely or overall, I feel genuine support towards diversity and inclusion in general, not just for women at Moody's. It's a big value, and that gets me really motivated to be part of the company. I know that there's many initiatives globally at Moody's that support specifically women. We have the ERG groups, which are employee resource groups, and there's one specifically for Moody's. And they do activities, regionally supporting women and supporting, women outside and inside the workplace. There's also, just like Sophia was mentioning, there's leadership insights trainings for all, everyone, but there's specific ones that are for like senior women leadership development programs or certain initiatives support women. And fun fact, since being at Moody's, the team is fairly new. The team that I work in is fairly new, and we've gone through various restructures, and I've had a few changes in management. And fun fact is that all the managers that I've had have been women. So I think this is very representative of there are a lot of women. The industry has changed, has evolved, and I have peer female managers like Sophia and Claudia to look up to and support each other. And in general, I think just having these options and these initiatives is great. It connects us, and it helps us form and build relationships with other women, which I think is very powerful when women support other women. So I guess that would be my view on that.
Love it. Women supporting women. Always a big factor. Okay. So, what's your best advice on how other women can help advance the careers of those around them? Speaking of women helping or supporting women.
Okay. Yeah, I would say that for me, it's don't be shy. Take ownership of your career, definitely. Communicate what makes you excited to show up to the office every day. If you love your job, show it. and take advantage of networking opportunities as well, and show interest to learn and collaborate whenever you have the opportunity, definitely.
I agree with what Claudia is saying, and I'm going to speak maybe from a manager perspective. For me, the most important thing is to help people excel at what they're really good at, so that they can exploit their strengths and really do a great job. And then I think as leaders, one of our jobs is to provide people with the right forum to showcase their work, because networking is paramount, I would say, for you to grow in your career. Then in terms of career development, what I have seen and from my experience, you need to dedicate time with your direct reports to help them figure out what they want to do next and where they visualize themselves. Once they have clarity on that, then you can help orientate them, and just make them accomplish what they want to do. At Moody's, we have very good tools that help us with this. We call it the development plan template. So it helps with all of this process of developing people, of identifying what their strengths are and what they're lacking to get to that next step that they want to get to. As a manager, you can easily identify the opportunities that they need in terms of education, networking, exposure, job experience in order to achieve those development objectives. I can say that this, at least in the case of my team, people seem very happy that we're taking an interest in them, to create these paths for them so that they can see the future in the company, and they can see how they're doing good and how can they expand their network and their influence on other people.
That's really cool. Moody sounds like it really is very supportive of their women. So that's really great. So how do you bring other women on career journeys with you? Brenda, we will start with you.
Sure. So, as a manager who for the past 3.5 years has been building a team and has constantly had to recruit, I think one of the and going back to the point of, this has um, this tends to be or has traditionally been a male dominated industry. One of the first things that I do when I'm recruiting for open positions is I make sure to strategize with the recruiters helping me to source a good, diverse mix of candidates that includes as many women as men as possible to make sure that we, get a good good group of candidates that include women. I think this is a first step, opening that door to getting more women in the company. And then at work, what I try to do is, and I would say this isn't that much difference of what I would do if it were a man. But just I think one key thing is gaining trust and coaching others, especially those that show interest in wanting to, develop their careers. So whenever possible, I give others a boost of confidence. I think that's key for people to, you know, um, grow and get out of their comfort zone. Um, I do this by sharing my personal experiences, sharing examples and lessons that I've learned. But I think the key, especially, and something that I try to work on as much as possible, is listen actively, like really getting to know the people, getting to know what women want in this case, and what their aspirations and motivations are. Then as a manager, seeing how we can match, what opportunities or projects make sense for those people to um, have the opportunities to develop those skills and push them to reach those professional objectives that they set for themselves. And sometimes that even is, coaching someone to sit down and have a conversation on, okay, what are your goals, your short term, medium term, and long term goals. um, then I think something kind of outside of work, if I may, and going along the women supporting women, something that I try to embody at every opportunity that I get, and has been very enriching for me is even outside of work, supporting women and creating that healthy competition to learn from others helps you grow a lot. And I think it's been amazing for me to meet women of all types of successful women. For example, for past years, I've practiced CrossFit and met very competitive women at CrossFit. And um, you get to meet people or women who have either a very similar mindset and experience to you, and you can relate to them easily, and um, you feel very inspired by that. But at the same time, you also meet women with different backgrounds or different profiles that kind of help you in, as an inspiration, to continue evolving. And then again, I'm very big on like pushing myself to go out of my comfort zone and try something new, because that way you discover something new about yourself. So like those type of things that I do, I try to share that with people that I work with that might be stuck in their career and want to do something different, but might not know like what is the next step or what do I do. Sometimes it's as easy as making a pivot and stepping out of the comfort zone you're in and seeing, might not work out, but at least now you know that that wasn't it. Let's try something new next time, and until I figure out what makes more sense for my next career move.
Okay, well, align with Brenda and adding to that point. And from my experience working in Moody's, at Moody's, I can say that we are firmly committed to providing a supportive workplace where all employees can thrive as their authentic selves. I think it's super important this, and we also aspire to be a place where everyone feels comfortable being true selves, where we demonstrate empathy and civility, and where we celebrate the difference that make us stronger. So I can I can ensure that at Moody's, the diversity, inclusion, and equity are part of Moody's the DNI, and I think it's something super important that the company has bring to us.
Great. I love hearing how you are able to support other women and bring them along on your journeys. That's awesome. Looks like we've got another question from our audience. Cindy asks, how do you differentiate leading versus managing people? Well, that's a good question, Cindy. How do you inspire those who report to you? And if you can also provide an instance of a difficult conversation you've had to have with a direct report and how you got through that would be really helpful and appreciated.
I guess I can start, but I don't know if you want to start. So I think for me, the main difference between leading and managing people is inspiring them. I think when you're just managing, you're probably just telling people, okay, you need to do A, B, and C, and D, and do it this way, and that's the way it is. But when you're leading people, you're giving people runway to just think outside the box, think how they want to solution something, and then you just guide them to get them to the place that you want them to arrive. So I think that would be how I inspired those who report to me. I try to encourage them just to think about those solutions, do it their own way, and as long as we're aligned on the objective, then that is the right way for me.
I agree with Sophia. I guess I would complement that with saying that I think a leader's approach for a team is creating an environment where they can be creative solvers to, like Sophia was saying, um, they can come up with their own intentions and solutions to things instead of just coming to the manager for, should I do this, yes or no. So I think that a leader, goes one step ahead, even if they already know or have a suggested solution. will make a pause and create an environment so that people have that opportunity to develop those critical and decision-making skills, and inspire them to, be their own thinkers, not just look up to the boss and tell me what to do kind of approach. Yeah.
To add to that, I would say that it is also important to have an environment where people can feel secure, that they can express not only their questions, but also concerns or even personal thoughts, where they can really feel free to share their opinion and of course, their ideas.
I think I would like to add something else, and I think that's something that we are trying very hard to do here. And Claudia is also leading that initiative for the finance organization, is recognition. Well, obviously, it's very important for you to provide constructive feedback so people know that the things that they need to improve on, but it's equally important to give recognition to the work that they're doing, because we can't underestimate what that pat on the back feels like. Yeah, good job, you did a good job, you did this, and be very specific about the things that you have, that people have done well, so that you can tell them. So I think that's very rewarding for people.
Love it. Recognition, inspiration, and expression. To sum up very shortly what you three have very succinctly said. Okay, so here at Fairygodboss, we have a tradition of asking our panelists the following. What we have observed is that women do not feel comfortable enough, quote, bragging or taking ownership of the amazing things that they achieve. Can you share with us an accomplishment, personal or professional, that you're most proud of?
Well, I'll start. Well, definitely being here today, participating in this event, representing Moody's Women, Moody's Costa Rica organization, and hopefully inspiring other women to succeed. It's a privilege, and I am super proud of it.
I can go next. So I think I agree with that statement that in many cases we're not comfortable just bragging, and we underestimate the impact that we might be having in the organization. Probably like a year ago, I was having a conversation with one leader here at Moody. She's a woman as well. And she told me very straightforward. She told me, you shouldn't be short selling yourself, and that stuck with me. So I think about it when I was just thinking about preparing for this. I was, oh, she's right. I shouldn't be short selling myself, and neither should all of you, because we definitely achieved some great things, and we deserve the recognition for it. I think at a professional level, what I'm most proud of is, and in my time here, is having built two teams from scratch, just building them and then shaping them in a way that I know that I'm delivering value for the company. And at a personal level, I took a challenge this year. I'm learning piano. So I learned how to play Chopin's Waltz in A minor, which was very challenging for me, but I achieved it, and I'm very, very proud of myself.
That's amazing, Sophia. I've always wanted to learn piano. Um, I'm being honest when I say that just being invited to this panel was amazing for me, and and I was very proud to get the invite. So there's that. I think this topic is a big one for me. I've come to realize more recently that I'm very quick and good at celebrating others' big and small accomplishments, especially as a manager. And Sophia was talking about recognition before. I'm very big on like stopping and recognizing anything that my team accomplishes individually or as a team. And I'll take the time to like forward that email and let everyone know, or bring in, any goodies to celebrate. But I don't really like pause to recognize and celebrate my own. And I've come to realize this because of feedback managers have given me. Even my husband has mentioned it to me. So, and this not only at work, even outside of work. So I've been working on that, and I think I've gotten better at giving myself credit for things which I maybe took for granted, or just would think, this has to get done, and this is the outcome. Okay, got it done. Check on to the next, right? But it's very important to stop and give yourself credit and celebrate those things. It builds that confidence that you need to then go out for the bigger projects or the bigger goals in life. So I think that I've been getting better at that. And if I were to choose, one thing that I'm most proud of from my past 2 or 3 years professionally, I think I've significantly matured and showcased my ability to adapt to change and to build resilience. Those two things. Yeah.
That's awesome. Piano player, DE&I specialist. We got a self advocate. I love being your own advocate. It is just so hard to really brag about yourself. And I don't know how it is down there for you all, but I know that very often women have experienced a culture where you have to be humble at all times. And then it's just like, but I actually did accomplish this thing. So I love that you have grown and matured and you are able to brag about yourself now. All right, we are going to take some more audience questions. We have Barbara here. She wants to know, what advice can you give to transfer new skills to, what advice can you give to transfer skills to a new career path? Brenda, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I think that, personally speaking, I was an equity research analyst, right? And I moved over to be a manager here at Moody's for the credit rating analysis, which technically was different. I had to transfer skills from my past experience into this, and it was different because I didn't move over to an analyst position per se. I had to move to a managerial position. So I guess one thing I did was look into what the position requirements were, and kind of do that check, like, okay, I think I have this, I think I have this one, not maybe not so much. And for those that I didn't have skills, I would task myself with, okay, let's learn how to do this, and see how from past experience, sorry, or projects, I can pull certain skills and apply to this new role. That said, from my experience, I think it was a very horizontal move, not so much a new career path. I don't know, Barbara, if you're looking for something more specific. But I think just trying to grab from past experiences, and then trying to fill in gaps where you think you need to develop those certain new skills for that new career. That could be helpful. I don't know how helpful that was for what she's looking for, but yeah.
I think that this always a new career path is not only a challenge, but also an opportunity to definitely learn more, and you can also take advantage of, for example, networking experiences, because it is not uh, everything. We need to learn everything by ourselves. Many times, working with other people or people from other departments really help us to learn, to expand our horizons. So I think it's something that we also need to take into consideration always, to, of course, to embrace the change, but a good attitude, and trying to see on the opportunities that we can take.
I agree with what Brenda and Claudia have said so far. And what I would add is it's all about how you frame the story, right? Because maybe you have the skills of your current job and then you're looking for a new job and you just don't realize that the experience that you already have is just being said or put differently in that new job description of the job that you're applying for. So it's just stop to think, just as Brenda said, just do like the comparison between the two things and just tell that story in a way that it's compelling for the new position that you're going to be applying for.
Great advice. All right. Oh, we're getting more questions. Great. Sandra asks, can you share some of your department's short-term goals?
I think someone went off mute. Go ahead. I can go
No,
second.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Sophia. Um, Short-term goals for the team that I'm working with is we're at a point where we do a variety of activities that we support analysts with. And we're wanting to streamline them and become more efficient in what we do. But at the same time, stop and question, is there a better way of doing this? Um, and streamlining the process and standardizing across to get to a better output or quality of the product that we're doing. So one of the things that we're doing is we're taking advantage of this short-term goal to train everyone and kind of level their skills, see identifying where there's gaps, where we could fill in with trainings. And that's very exciting because sometimes it's like a refresher of, maybe things that we're accustomed of doing a certain way. And it's great because it builds a lot of um, conversations across different teams. Like I mentioned, we work as a global team. So there's an office in Lithuania, there's one in India, there's one in Costa Rica that provides support to various offices across the globe. And it builds a lot of collaboration and different perspectives. Um, Looking at one same process in different ways and then learning from each other. I think that's one of the main short-term goals we have, and it's been great to work with other people and give that opportunity also to the members in my team to lead different um, projects working towards those goals.
I think in the case of our department, data and analytics in finance, what we're all about in the short term is collaborating better with our stakeholders and unlocking the potential of data. So basically, what we're trying to do is create curated data sets for people to access all of the information in a standardized way and make just reporting easier and faster for everyone in the organization.
Oh, in my case, our goals are focused, and one of the top priorities are supporting new people, managers, and also our entry-level employees in their career development, and also to continue celebrating people, celebrating the different promotions, but also formal training completion that people has in the organization.
Awesome. These are some great short-term goals. Okay. Allison asks, what are some suggestions you ladies have getting more engagement and participation in our new women's ERG, new as of the late summer? We got a good start. We're just looking for something to keep it fresh, engaging, and looking for something that people will continually participate in. Do you have any content ideas? For context, we are a male-dominated manufacturing company with only about 11% women currently and 14 spread out locations across the US and Canada.
Well, maybe you can start. Well, we have different engagement activities in our site where we try to come together, not only women, but also sharing with the people from all the organization. And we have been done different activities to invite people to be also at the office, not only virtual. For example, one of the things that we have been doing is that we have preparing some networking sessions for the people to meet and also to talk and engage not only with their colleagues from the same department, but also from other colleagues from all the organization, from other departments, people that maybe are not familiar, they are not familiar with, but having those spaces for them to know more about other people, but also about other departments within the company has been very appreciated from the population, from the community. That's one of the examples.
I guess from my end, one suggestion is I was trying to think of a content idea and I couldn't come up with one specifically, but I think something looking at how the company is set up, one thing that you could try doing is creating some sort of activity or event that is done in each location, the same activity, same event, and then following up or having a follow up to that activity that connects the different locations across the US and Canada that may build networking and more participation from people so that they have the opportunity not only to work within the location that they're at, but other coworkers in other locations in the company, and that might be helpful.
Those are some great ideas. Networking and the same activities. I like it. Okay, Judy asks, what certifications stand out most?
I'm not really sure I understand the question. Like certifications for what?
Maybe types of qualifications that you're looking for in new hires.
I guess. Well, sorry to start, but I guess it will depend on the area that you're applying. So, for example, in the area that I work with, is very important. For example, in Scrum certifications, how to plan projects. Also, we need a lot of experts in Power BI. So all of the certification that Microsoft offers to certify yourself as a Power BI expert, those are really useful. And I think that's something that's quite popular, at least in the Costa Rican market. It's something that's very hot, I would say.
Yeah, to add to that, and for my also for I think for the Costa Rica office across, but specifically the department I'm at, Lean Six Sigma is a good one, and agile thinking, all that type of training and certifications are good. Going back to what our short term goal is, it's very much aligned to that. So yeah.
All right. That's a great question from Barbara again. Are any of the panelists introverts? If yes, how did you put yourself out there to get where you are now?
I don't know if I've never liked to categorize myself in a box, but I would say that I do have traits of an introvert. One of the things I struggled the most when I was an analyst is we would have weekly morning meetings where we would have to prepare and pitch hypotheses for stock buy or sell and just present in front of the whole company. And that would just not only help you here in the Costa Rica office prepare you for your English presentation skills, but just in general for analytical and critical thinking skills. And it was just a nightmare for me at the beginning, just standing up in front of a crowd and speaking. And then I think I got used to it. I received feedback, I worked on it, And then it got to a point where if I don't put myself out there and, rate, like I said at the beginning, like raise my hands and intentionally put myself in those situations, even if like one day before I'm like, why did I accept this and why am I doing this? And then after coming out of it, I was like, now I know why. Like I'm building experience, I feel better, I'm building confidence. And it really is, practice makes perfect. So I don't know if I would say I'm an introvert, but those are some of the things that I've done to put myself out there to improve my communication, presentation skills, and not feeling too shy. And it is very necessary as a manager as well. Leading team meetings. You get to a point where you get used to it, but I try to practice like you know looking for opportunities to put myself out there, and feeling uncomfortable is actually a good thing, right? Like you will learn from it. So I guess that's my answer on that, Barbara. Good question. Thanks.
Uh, adding to Brenda, well, for me, networking has helped a lot. It's really important to get to know the people within your company, even if they are from different business units or departments. Showing interest in them, learning about their roles and their responsibilities, and engaging with them, and understanding how they contribute to the business, can also help you to build some strong working relationships, and it helps definitely.
I think just to finalize on that, I think I agree with all of the examples that Brenda and Claudia provided. I think one of the things is, as Brenda mentioned, put yourself in that uncomfortable position. I think definitely that helps a lot. And don't underestimate the power of training. I remember a year ago, we took a training on communication, and they were actually videotaping us. So you got to see all of the things that you do when you speak. So, for example, all the crutches that you have, all the ums and the ohs and everything. And then if you have like if you're leaning towards one side or just not looking at people straight at the eyes, or the camera in this case. So I think those kinds of trainings are very helpful. You can never underestimate like the power of a pause when you're talking. It might feel like I don't know, like a thousand years long for you just doing that pause, but it helps you a lot when you're speaking to people and the way that you are presenting yourself. So I think training is super helpful to help you get there.
Never underestimate the power of a pause. All right, let's move on to our lightning round. Very quickly, what advice would you give to your younger self?
I think earlier on in my career, I would have liked to identify and do more things that would have helped me build my confidence sooner rather than later. And going back to what we were talking about before, give myself more credit for the things that I accomplished, right? I think that's something that would have also helped me build confidence. But that also goes in line with, I guess there's more than one. That's not so much of a lightning round. Um, Taking that leap of faith and kind of going back to what we were talking about, like stepping out of the comfort zone. I tend to be a very structured person and don't take action until I'm like everything's in place, ready, set, go. And it's important to take, measured risks. So I think that um, don't err on, being too cautious or being too careful to take that next step and actually believe in yourself, because it might get you somewhere that you thought you thought you wouldn't be able to, but it might. So those are like three things in one, Robin. Sorry. A lot of advice for my younger self. Well, that's good. That means I've learned a lot.
For me, I would say that don't be afraid to raise your voice and your hand to work on new things, and be also comfortable to celebrate your achievements, definitely.
I think just to add on to the list of the things that you shouldn't underestimate, I would say the power of networking. So networking, getting to know as many people as you can, forming those relationships, it will definitely help you boost your career.
Love it. So much great advice. Thank you so much, Sophia, Brenda, and Claudia, for joining us today and for sharing such fantastic advice. And thank you to everyone who tuned in for this discussion. As a reminder, we'll be sending out a recording of today's event along with resources to learn more about opportunities at Moody's. In the meantime, be sure to check out Moody's profile and jobs on Fairygodboss. Also, we'd love to hear your feedback to help us improve future events. Please head to the Typeform tab on the right side of your screen to share your thoughts with everyone in a 1-minute survey. Thank you all again, and we will see you next time.